Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I really recommend carrying a torch. The torches, these snap-on ones, are just outstanding. This is the Torch 300. They also have a slightly bigger one that's the Torch 400. But this is one of those shop tools that I find ends up in so many other projects, from lighting burn piles or barbecues to melting paracord, to doing repairs. In fact, we just used it to do a plastic weld on a kayak. It's super handy, super reliable. There are others. Here's a Bernzomatic. This thing seems super awkward, but it does work. I'll show you these in a moment. And then, of course, this is the classic. Got to have one of these. But anyway, let's take a look at this. This is a small handheld kind of sort of pistol grip torch, easily adjustable. This one's about out of fuel, so I'm going to deal with that in a sec and show you. But basically, you push a button in the back. You can do this all one-handed, and then you pull the trigger. And if you release your thumb on the back, then it locks it, so you can actually have it just sitting here. You know, a little dangerous, but you know, you get what you pay for here. And I can adjust the flame, so you can see I can turn it way down, or full jet engine. Real solid unit. I've had these things for years, and they hold the fuel great. They work great. They seem, you know, very well made, easily starting. The only thing I've ever really noticed is sometimes I'm quick to pull the trigger again. Just have to be kind of committed, and it'll fire up. Faster you try to do it, the worse it seems to work. They're not cheap though. On the less expensive side, here's a Bernzomatic. Real kind of a funny shape. Anyway, this, how you start this, you actually have to pull this down to release the button. Then you can push the button and it starts, and then you've got another button over here you can push in. So it really works best with two hands. There's a flame control. Whoops, killed it. But anyway, you can see that it has some control. Simple. You know, Bernzomatic's been making this stuff forever. And then, of course, the big one. I used to have just the old school with the twisty knob, and you had to use a striker. But once you get that kind of power, that's pretty nice to just be able to grab something, especially if we're doing, you know, slash burning or something when it's cold or wet out. That'll get it going. Can be expensive running these larger tanks, or these small tanks though. Anyway, let's deal with this. Right now, this one's not firing up. I get a little bit of a blip up here. It's out of fuel. So what I do, and I use jet power fuel, and I've got this adapter. I'll take it off when I'm done. But this is an adapter by Optimus that allows filling of these butane tanks. And this particular one, I usually end up working these down, you know, on trips, you know, overlanding or backpacking or whatever, till they get to a certain point, and then they go into car camping, because I'll just burn them out at the end, because there's still fuel in here, but I'm not going to carry this with me. But then I also use them in the shop. So what I do here is line this up right on top of the hole there and push down until it starts squirting out. Takes a moment because this was empty. Yep, there we go. It's all full that fast. Now, I've talked about this in the past, and some people complain that, you know, the purity of the fuels is questionable. Well, this runs in a fairly expensive stove, which to me probably has a very similar, or maybe even more sensitive jet, because it's got a whole bunch of them, and and it runs a lot more fuel faster. So I have not had any trouble with this. I have heard of jets clogging up. Snap-on does service these. They'll put new jets on them if something's messed up. But no problem here. This is the adapter. It's just a little thing. I think it was about 10 bucks or so. Who knows what prices are now, but it just screws onto the standard gas canisters, giving you the little beak that's necessary. The reason I use that is because some of the things like this Coleman butane fuel, which would be designed for stoves and refilling things, this nozzle's too short to get into that, so I can't fit it on there. Can get it into this if I wanted to fill that one. I can line that up. I think this might work. Yeah, it's already full though. Anyway, so let's give this a shot. Now that it's full, there is a window here, but like a lot of these windows, it takes maybe some backlighting so you can see in there. There we go. Whoop, crank it up. Good to go. Anyway, with summer coming, there's always a good need for a torch, and these are some of my recommendations. And with that, Doc out.